Did you know that when jalapenos are ripened on the vine, they turn bright red and get even hotter? And if you pick 10 pounds of jalapenos and put them in a smoker for a few days, you'd end up with 1 pound of Chipotle peppers, just like these guys. Today, we're preparing Chipotle chicken pizza with roasted yam and pepper. I'm Chef Michael Williams, and that's what we're cooking on the coast. Welcome to the kitchen. I've always wanted to be a baker, but I couldn't raise the dough. Ba-doom. On the show today, one dough that we can take in many different directions. We're gonna finish it off with a Chipotle chicken pizza. It's going to be epic. Let's get right into it. This dough is so simple to make, and I'm gonna show you how right now. We're gonna start off with just 2 1/4 cups of water, and that goes into our mixing bowl. Now, one of the keys when you're using yeast is to make sure you get that yeast dissolved before you add the salt. You see what happens if you mix salt and yeast is the salt will actually dehydrate and kill the yeast, which is alive. We don't want that to happen. So I'm gonna add in the yeast to the water and then a scoop of this honey, which is kind of like food. It's food for the honey, it's a little bit of sweetness for the dough. So let's go ahead and whisk that together. I'll get my trusty whisk. And we'll get that whisked, and then we can add our salt. Once I can see that yeast has dissolved into the water, I can go ahead and add the salt. Okay, and I won't bother quite mixing that just yet, because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add some oil, and then we're gonna start mixing this together, adding a little bit of flour to bring it all together, and then we'll switch over to the wooden spoon and finish off mixing this dough. So extra virgin olive oil, key ingredient in this dough. This is a focaccia dough. So we're gonna be able to make focaccia from this, we're gonna be able to make pizza from this, and we're also gonna be able to make flatbread. It's super versatile and super flexible. I love it. So while I'm whisking, I'm gonna add in probably about 1/3 of this flour, like so. And what that'll do is that'll suspend the oil so we don't have kind of clumps of unmixed oil in our dough. And once you brought it all together, as you can see I have, you can go ahead, add the rest of the flour, and then you're not gonna wanna continue mixing with a whisk because it's just gonna get really sticky. So it's time to grab a wooden spoon at this point to finish the mixing process. Now this is a wet dough, and it's also a no-knead dough. You do not need to knead, no need to knead this dough, which is great. Super easy, super simple. The legwork of this dough is already almost done. All I need to do now is get a little bit of, just a touch more oil into this so that our dough doesn't stick to the bowl while it's proofing. So I'm gonna go ahead and scrape the edges of the bowl here, bring it all together, give it a little drizzle of oil around. Ooh, we lost our lid, that's okay. Okay, and then I'll just gently lift this. And now our dough can proof very easily without sticking. You can see that that oil has worked its way under the dough. Perfect. So now this is gonna get wrapped and it's gonna sit at room temperature in a warm, draft-free place for about an hour and a half. Hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on the heat and the humidity and a couple of other factors that I can't think of right now, but they're true. Here we have a dough that I've already proofed, and you can see how much it's risen. This is the same recipe. It has absolutely more than doubled. Look at that. So this dough, we're now gonna take in 2 different directions. Let's start off with focaccia. So I'm gonna very liberally drizzle oil onto this pan, which we're gonna use to bake focaccia. Don't be shy at this point. And then I'm gonna take about half of this, okay? Our nicely proofed dough. It's a little bit sticky, but hey, just get yourself right in there. Okay? Simply spread this out by hand now. You can use your fingers. You want to get those fingerprints pushing it out. Okay, spread it So it's nice and consistent in thickness. That's great. And now, if we were gonna bake focaccia, which we will with this dough, we would let this proof, again, probably about a half an hour. Let it increase in size. And then we can top it off with all kinds of goodies. I'm gonna surprise you for the last segment, and I'm gonna show you how beautiful this will be. Let's set it aside for now though, because the main focus of this episode is going to be pizza. Now, let's make our pizza dough here. I'm gonna dust a little bit of flour onto my work surface so that the dough doesn't stick to my countertop. Okay, and I can turn this right out. At this point, I can tell I'm gonna need a little bit more flour, otherwise it's gonna stick. And I'm just gonna work it by hand. So this is that fun, hands-on aspect of cooking where you can bring the kids in and you know, just really make it a family experience. Right now, the shaping of the dough, right? Like, kids love this stuff. They love it. You get to play with your food and you don't even get in trouble for it. Am I right? So you wanna stretch this out as evenly as you can. Okay, that is looking good. Just for good measure, I'm gonna sprinkle a touch of flour onto here. You know what's even better? Cornmeal, so good, adds that nice crunchy crust. Flour will do the trick though, so I'm gonna carefully transfer this. And this we'll let sit for a little bit. We'll let that proof and warm up. And we're gonna be back later in the show to pull together our Chipotle chicken pizza. But before that, we're hitting the road. You'll wanna stick around for that.
Cooking on the Road is brought to you by Cold Star Solutions, an integral part of Vancouver Island's grocery supply chain for 20 years.
We are inside of a shipping container on Vancouver Island in a fantastic operation with Susan. Tell us all about Foodie Biz. You guys are creating incredible microgreens, right?
We are, yeah. So I have about 15 varieties that I grow here. They're really potent in flavor.
Yeah.
They're really dense in nutrition. And yeah, I'm excited for you to try them.
Yeah, me too. Now,
Yeah.
like, I love sprouts and I know all about the great nutrition in sprouts. So how are sprouts different from microgreens?
Well, I think nutritionally they're fairly similar.
Yeah.
But sprouts grow in water and in the dark.
Okay.
And then microgreens, they grow specifically in soil.
Right.
They
These
do.
are just little baby vegetables
Yeah.
full of all that great nutrition and potency.
Yeah, so nutrition, it does primarily come from just the seed.
Yeah.
And that's why all of these are between 6 and 40 times more nutritious than their adult counterpart.
Right. You said you were going to make a smoothie. Let's check that
Yeah,
out.
so I have smoothie mix here. So there's a
Cool.
variety of greens in that.
Okay.
There's pea shoots, which are really high in protein.
Yeah.
Kale and broccoli. There's kohlrabi,
Yeah.
cabbage,
Yeah.
fenugreek.
So
a nice variety of
yeah,
greens.
basically you're making it really easy to eat your vegetables with that mix, eh?
Yes.
Yeah,
and
that's
what
awesome.
I do is I just put in half a cup of orange juice
Okay.
and just pop about that much in there.
Yeah.
Blend it up.
Yeah.
Love my Vitamix.
Oh, my mouth's watering. That looks delicious.
You're
Look
welcome.
at the froth on that.
Yeah, there
Hey,
is.
mine's bigger. I'm all right with that. Cheers. Wow.
They
That
say
is so good.
They say, isn't it good?
Yeah, it's really good.
I know, I do
So
this every
simple.
morning.
What kind of nutrients are we getting out of this?
Lots of protein, of course. There's a lot of pea protein in there. People are quite familiar with that.
Yep.
Cabbage, kohlrabi, there's some radish in there.
Yep.
They're all really high in vitamin C, antioxidants,
Yep.
A, K, vitamin E. I know that the cabbage is over 6 times more vitamin C than its adult cabbage. So,
Oh, okay.
there
Yeah.
is a ton of vitamins, selenium, calcium,
Yeah.
potassium.
Perfect.
This is like a bag full, a paper bag full
exactly.
of produce. That's right.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah.
Well, I'm loving this. This is super tasty. So tell us what we have here. These are beautiful.
Yeah, so these are radish.
Okay.
These have got vitamin A, vitamin K, vitamin E in them.
Yeah.
They also have potassium. They're a little bit spicy.
Tastes just like a radish.
I know it's not
That's
intense.
awesome. So good.
These are really, really good in sandwiches.
And you got
And so this
some kind of
here
an
is
experiment here, right?
I do, yeah. So this is garlic chives I've experimented with. And These guys are also very potent in flavor.
Oh my goodness. That's incredible. Like the garlic flavor that just
Yes.
explodes out of that. That's amazing.
It's a bit sweet too. Did
It
you find it
is.
sweet as
yeah,
well?
it's got a nice little sweetness to it.
So
Beautiful.
This one here, I'm just gonna, maybe you already read what it was.
I didn't. Nope.
No? Okay,
it's a
well,
surprise. Let me
okay,
see.
why don't you
Let me
just
see if I
you
can
can-
identify it.
Yes.
It's gonna put me to the test. Ooh. Mustard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh my goodness. So good.
I know, right?
Yeah, the nice and potent, hey?
Yes, very, very spicy and hot.
Oh, this is like culinarily so fun. So fun. Susan, you've really taken my palate on a little bit of a journey here. It's actually so fun and exciting to taste all of these different, plants in their baby form and be able to recognize them. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much.
Back into our kitchen, and we're bringing together our super versatile dough, which we're gonna actually make a fantastic Chipotle chicken pizza out of right now. Just before we start assembling the pizza, we got a couple pieces we need to pull together. First of all, I wanna get some peppers roasting in the oven. So I am going to give these guys a little bit of a kiss of oil, just enough to coat them. We don't want a whole bunch of extra oil in the pan for the roasting process, otherwise we end up with a smoke show. So, once these are just barely coated with a nice touch of oil, they're ready to hit the broiler. I've got the oven set to broil. We're gonna get them in there. We're gonna get them nice and caramelized and toasty right under the element. Ooh, and I've got a hot tray of vegetables ready to go, which are gonna be beautiful garnishes for our pizza. Let's get on to the sauce. This pizza, honestly, it's all about the sauce. I love this sauce. I have, in the pot here, a little bit of butter and flour. We're building a roux here, so once that butter melts, we're gonna stir it into the flour, and then we're gonna add all kinds of great ingredients. So we'll let that do its thing for a second. I've got some chopped garlic and shallots and rosemary here, which are gonna go in there once we've got our roux started. Let's do a couple of things while that does its thing. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my lime, and actually, just before I get the juice out of that lime, I'm going to grate it. Not with this though, with this. So go ahead and get that zest. Nice little accent flavor of the lime. Let's check out our roux. Let's bring this together. Now this is what's gonna provide the body to our sauce. That's close, that's really close. I wanna add in the shallots, the garlic, and the rosemary, because we wanna saute that a little bit. I'm gonna be ready to add in some lime juice, so I'll just go ahead and cut this. And then we're gonna add in, of course, some seasoning, some salt, and we've got some beautiful smoky, smoked jalapenos. That's what these are, Chipotle peppers or jalapeno peppers that have been smoked. Really great way to, less time, more flavor, really up your game in the kitchen with canned Chipotle peppers. They're fantastic. Okay, so we're happy here. We've caramelized all of that stuff just right. So here's the key step. We wanna make sure that we whisk the roux and the cream together without any lumps. So I'm gonna be whisking, adding just not all of the cream I want in the beginning, just a portion of it. And whisk vigorously to bring that together. Give it another whisk, and now I can add the rest. Now that I'm sure that the flour and butter have incorporated into the cream, I can add the rest of that cream without the risk of lumps. Now we do want this sauce fairly thick. So once that cooks up, it will be just that. So let's go ahead and add in some sea salt, a little bit of chipotle pepper. I'll just let that kind of break down naturally in the sauce. Use that whisk to break it up a little bit as well, perhaps. And I'm gonna give this a good kick. 3 chipotle peppers. I'm living life on the edge right now. And you can see with that whisk, I'm able to kind of chop the chipotles up. Oh, this smells so good. Anytime, like I said, the chipotle peppers, the smokiness, they're such a great addition to your culinary game. Let's go ahead and get that lime zest in there. Now, you do want to be sure to chop up those chipotles. So if you're not going to get it really well with your whisk, then do chop them ahead of time. That's, I would say, advisable. Otherwise, someone's going to end up with a big surprise on their pizza. We'll finish this off with a little bit of lime juice. I'm just going to squeeze it right in there, and we'll call this done. Now, technically, when you're working with roux like this, you do want to cook it for a little bit longer than I have here to bring everything together and mellow out the flavors of the flour, just kind of incorporating into the cream. But we're going to roll with it right now. Let's build our pizza and get it in the oven. So, it would be also advisable to let this cool down a little bit. We're just rolling with it today. It's all good. It's gonna work out fantastic. There is a certain element, a huge element actually, in my opinion, of flexibility when you're cooking. You wanna follow the recipe and the rules to some extent, but sometimes you just go with it. Now you'll notice this is not a tomato sauce pizza, but how good does that look? We've got some cubed roasted yams here. Look at these beautiful wedges of red onion. How about some shredded chicken, right? Beautiful chicken breast. Oh my goodness, this is gonna be a delicious pizza. And finally, we've got some beautiful Vancouver Island cheese. Little Qualicum spice, one of my favorite cheeses. Love this stuff. I've already got it grated and ready to go. We'll go ahead and spread this on top, and our pizza can now hit the oven. What do you think? Looking good? Yeah. Okay, so in that goes. Because of our master editor, Jim, 10 minutes later, let's grab our pizza. Oh yes, how good does that look, right? Like, so let's get this right onto the cutting board. You might need to free it up a little bit. Sometimes it likes to stick here and there. Once you're confident, it will slide off. Ooh. Then do just that. Right? Let's grab our peppers. Okay. So these guys, you can see, we've burnt them nicely. What we want to do, they're going to be hot, so you'll probably let them cool down a little bit. I'm just going to go ahead and scrape that charred skin off. Use a little bit of it if it gets in there, no big deal. We've got some beautiful roasted red peppers to go on our pizza here. We've got some beautiful pea shoots. I love my pea shoots. Sprouts and pea shoots are some of the healthiest foods you can find. And this has all of a sudden become a masterpiece. Am I right? Can I say that? Can I tout my own pizza as a masterpiece? Well, I just did. Mouth officially watering. This looks fantastic. Remember that focaccia? Check this out. Shallots, garlic, rosemary on top. So good. There you have it, folks. One dough, so many directions. Chipotle chicken pizza. Cheers.
Pairings are brought to you by Liquor Plus. Discover the plus.
Every great meal, including an epic from scratch pizza, deserves a great pairing. Here to help us with that's Darren from Lighthouse Brewing. Thank you so much for coming down.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Right on. So I gave you a bit of a heads up. I'm going to make a pizza from scratch, chipotle lime, kind of beautiful sauce. We've got chicken, roasted peppers. How'd you decide to pair up?
You can't go wrong with the classic. You gotta go pale ale with pizza.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Especially with the pizza that you've just made.
Yeah.
So what I brought today was our Poseidon Pale Ale.
Nice. That sounds good.
Yep.
Poseidon's my man. So pale ales are
Definitely.
fantastic. In my mind, it's already working.
Yeah.
I'd love to have a taste.
Definitely, for sure.
So you guys are kind of fresh off a rebrand by the looks of things.
Yes, we are. Summer of 2020, we went and did a complete rebrand of this beer, of all our beers really.
Yeah?
Wanted to bring it into the next day and age, so
Right
time
on.
to bring it up. So
Okay. Well, Poseidon Pale Ales. This is one of your new ones?
this is one of the new ones.
Okay.
Been out just a little while now.
Right on.
This one has a lot of different hops in it.
And it's very tasty. That's
Yeah.
a good one.
Yeah, definitely. It's got definitely a lot of citrus notes in it and a little bit of
Yeah.
bitterness at the back end.
Yeah, that citrus really comes through,
Yeah,
actually.
definitely. So the bitterness, I think, really plays well with the spiciness
Yeah.
of your pizza. It
Okay.
really goes and cuts it.
Well, we should find out about that.
Definitely.
I'm going to have a bite of this pizza. I've been waiting for a little while.
Me too.
I'm excited. Probably my favorite meal. How do you go wrong with pizza?
Oh, yeah. Can't go wrong. Oh, that's good.
You like it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Really good.
A little bit of a kick, right?
Yep, definitely.
Nice sweetness from the yams.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back to beer. Oh my goodness. Such a great match.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah. I could totally picture myself on a patio enjoying this delicious pizza.
Definitely.
And the beer. Perfect. So good. So tell us a little bit more about Lighthouse.
Lighthouse has been around since '98, so been around quite a few years. As we were discussing, rebrand. Just went through that summer of 2020. A lot of new things coming down the pipe. Beers available all throughout the island and
Yep.
even onto the mainland. So
Cool. And you guys still have a couple classics with a bunch of new
oh,
flavors, right?
definitely. Our classic is still the Race Rocks. Well, that was the first beer that came out of the brewery,
Totally.
and we're still making it today.
Yeah.
Still #2 seller for us. So
Still locally owned and operated.
it's
Lighthouse
still locally
Brewing?
owned, operated, everything. So like to keep it local, like to be sustainable whenever we can. So
Yeah. Well, my new favorite beer is your coffee lager. That
Oh,
is
thank you.
so epic.
Thank you.
This also one of my new faves. Thank you so much
no
for coming
problem.
down, Darren.
Thank you for having me.
Great pairing.
Thank you very much.
Check out our website where you'll find the lowdown on today's show. I'm Chef Mike, and don't forget, dinner's better when we enjoy it together. Cheers.
Cheers.
Time to devour some pizza.
Sounds good.